Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. Of course, I am your host, KC Phoenix, and I'm doing my best to get comfortable in my chair for those who are watching. So, yeah, here we are, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Okay, so one thing that I want to talk about, and this is sort of like pre-energy, and I can do another pre-energy thing during the actual reading, which, by the way, I can't believe the year has gone by so fast because it's about to be October in a few days. I will start the 2023 readings soon enough for all of the signs. I'll do a 2023 reading for the collective, and then I'll do a 2023 reading for every single sign is what I will do. But right now, I just want to talk about some of the things that I'm picking up. And the reason I decided to do that is because another tarot card reader pretty much was confirming what the vibe that I was getting for 2023. And he was saying that 2023 is going to be an interesting year. And that's what I feel like. I really want to title the reading when I do it is Showtime. And what I mean by that is get ready for a show. I feel 2023 is going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. I feel like there's going to be confusion. Because don't forget, 2 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. So if you go to the tarot deck with the 7, so you have the 7 of Cups, which can be about options, but also it can be about confusion too. 7 of Swords, which can be about deception, or it can be about strategy. It can also be about doing things in secret. Then you have the 7 of Pentacles, so that's about investment, what you're investing in. I feel like investments will be affected a lot in 2023. Honestly, I feel like, because we're already in a recession, I've mentioned this before, we've been in a recession for months now. I feel 2023 is going to transition into a depression. And that's where things are going to get interesting. Because the Fed, they're doing what they can to slow down the inflation. But again, the only reason that the United States can do what it does when it comes to printing all this money, because that's what it is. The United States is trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. But the reason that the United States can carry that debt is because the US dollar is the prime reserve currency for the entire world. So everyone else has to use US dollars, pretty much. And if the United States was not the reserve currency for the world, then inflation would go through the roof. Other countries right now are working on other options besides the US dollar, and they're attempting to get off of the US dollar. If that starts, it's going to create a whole bunch of other things that will happen, and it will not be pretty. Banks are being funny about people getting their money, and not just in the US, all around the world. The stories are out there if you look hard enough. You have to keep in mind that when it comes to information, certain institutions, it is their job to keep information guarded, where they don't want the truth to come out right away, because they feel the less people know, the better off everyone will be. But for people who actually do their research and are paying attention to the things that are going on in the world, they will see, okay, something's not right here. You know, just like they were saying that, oh, inflation's only up like 10% or whatever. That's a lie. It's been a lie. Because for me, I'm very particular about what I eat. So I buy the same things over and over and over again. So if there's a change in price, I will notice it. And for example, one thing I always buy is black beans. When I first moved to Texas, and I usually go to Target. When I first moved to Texas, a can of black beans was 69 cents. Now a can of black beans is 85 cents. So that's not 10%. 10% would be 7 cents to 69, which would be 76. So yeah, that's not 10%. That's about 20%. So yeah, Same thing with the chicken. I usually buy the same brand of chicken because it's really, really good. It's frozen chicken in a bag. And when I first moved to Texas last year, it was $6.99 a bag. Now it's $9.69 a bag. That's not 10%. And the list goes on and on and on and on. They finally dropped the price of blueberries because I guess they saw nobody was going to pay like $12 or $14, whatever it was, for a little while for the frozen wild blueberries that they have. And now it's back to $8 and something. So yeah, but definitely this whole 10% thing, that's a myth. It doesn't exist. Things are up more than 10%, and they will continue to go up unless things are brought under control. The reason all of this started, what people don't realize, especially people who are into save the earth and all that other stuff, which God bless you, swing for the fences. If you feel that you have to defend the earth and do everything else, more power to you. But one thing I will tell you, and I will always tell people this, and George Carlin talked about this in one of his stand-ups, the earth is going to be all right. Is everybody else around that may not survive, but the earth will be fine. The earth has been here quite some time. It will more than likely be here quite some time after we're gone. So the earth's going to be okay, but these are minor details. But in this crusade of green energy, which is not sustainable at the moment, I always believe in balance. I don't believe in too much of one thing. So in this crusade of green energy, what they've done is they're like, okay, we just want to get rid of fossil fuels. You can't do that. Green energy is not sustainable enough to sustain everything. Oh, we'll do solar. That's not going to work. And I'm not looking to be negative. I'm all about positivity. I'm all about being an optimist, but also I'm a pragmatist too and a realist. And I recognize that there is something there for green energy once it evolves. But during the interim, you need to still use what works, which is fossil fuels, and then continue to help green energy evolve. And then once it gets to a very stable place, then you can transition more into green energy. It isn't, oh, well, we're just going to get rid of everything. We're going to start doing electric cars, which, by the way, do people know where electricity comes from? Over 50% of the electricity in the United States comes from fossil fuels. And that's me being very generous on that. I believe it's about 75%, but I'm just saying 50 to make sure I stay, within. But I know it's over 50 for sure on that. But like I said, pretty sure it's 75. But this is the thing. If you're using an electric car, you're using electricity. In addition to that, the batteries that go into the electric cars, like the Teslas and everything else, and don't get me wrong, I love Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a laugh a minute, and he is brilliant. And you can't take that away from him. However, when it comes to the batteries that are in those cars, do you know how much of the earth has to be dug up in order to get the raw resources needed to build those batteries? It is a ridiculous amount of the earth that has to be extracted just to build a battery. So you're tearing the earth apart to say you're making a difference to save the earth. And then when you get the car, it's still using fossil fuels because you have to use electricity to charge the car. Make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, because of what has happened with this green energy crusade, people forgot that everything is connected to energy. The food in your grocery stores, it isn't teleported there. The food in the grocery stores are transported there. So it costs gas, diesel to get it there. Then in addition to that, people are like, well, they could use electric trucks. Yes, electric trucks are in existence. Some companies are converting to electric trucks. At the same time, it goes back to what I was talking about before. Where do you think electricity comes from? All right. But while these energy prices are high, it affects everything else, all of the industries. People don't realize how much energy is tied to everything. If you have a business, you have a light bill. If energy is more, that's going to put more stress on your business, which then may affect your payroll. Maybe you want to expand in business and you can't do it now because your electric bill for the business that you have has either doubled or tripled or quadrupled in some cases in the UK. So you have to think about these things. And that's the issue with the world in general. Everyone is so emotionally driven. And because they're emotionally driven, they usually can be emotionally manipulated, where sometimes you have to take the emotion out of things. As much as you want to put the emotion in things, you have to take it out. But because people are so emotional and they don't have a full check on their emotions, here we are with 2023. So it's going to be a point of recognizing what is real and what isn't. It'll be a point of recognizing what path needs to be taken forward. Where do you want to invest in 2023? What do you want to invest in? Were things that you thought were great investments now not so good investments in 2023? That can be literally or metaphorically. It's a thing of, do you want to be a person of moral character, or do you just want to throw morals out the window in 2023? And I can tell you, quite a few people will be throwing morals out the window in 2023. It's going to be a thing of, okay, it's either them or me. It's not going to be a thing of, oh, well, this is right or wrong. Some people will not be in that energy. They're going to be like, okay, it's either them or me. You know, to hell with the consequences, to hell with morals and everything else. It's all about survival. Some people will be in survival mode. And that there will be an uptick in crime in 2023, which crime has already went up anyway, but I'm talking about like an uptick in crime in 2023. And we're already seeing, traces of that through certain stories in the media, but I feel like it may get to a point in 2023 where it just can't be hidden at all. It's just going to be really in your face. So yeah, I mean, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Time will tell. But that's one of the things. Also, Seven of Wands, which is another seven, where Seven of Wands is about standing your ground, holding on to your beliefs. I can see a lot of people saying enough is enough in 2023. I can see that. Saying, no, enough is enough. It's time for the shenanigans to quit. And I'm not talking about any type of political thing per se. Can be political. I'm just talking about in general. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is, because quiet as it's kept, which I don't really talk about politics on this show because this is a politics safe zone. But I will say this. Most political parties are garbage. They don't care about you. The only thing they want is to extract what they can from you. They may offer all of these platitudes and everything else. But at the end of the day, all they care about is what they can extract from you. There's very few people in politics that truly care about the people. Most of them are usually bought by other people, or they are more concerned about what they can do for themselves. In addition to that, a lot of people that go into politics, they are kind of weak too. And it's usually because there's something missing inside, something that doesn't complete them. And then they decide, oh, well, maybe if I run for office and help people, then maybe that'll fill the void that's inside. It's almost like the thing they say about money. If you have issues before you have money, if you get money, it will more than likely magnify the issues that you had before you had money. And it's sort of the same thing with politics. If there was something missing in you, if there was some type of void in you before you ran for politics, meaning that you weren't complete, you weren't fully, I need the word, please. I don't want to use stable. Okay. You weren't fully comfortable with you. Your self-esteem was not at its prime. Let's put it like that, where you weren't fully comfortable with you. If you weren't fully comfortable with you, with who you are as a person, and you decide to run for office, thinking that, oh, well, this is going to help me become more comfortable because, oh, well, I'm helping people, and that means that I'm a good person and da 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 da, where you're doing something, you're seeking validation, and you're hoping that pursuing this path of life will give you the validation that you are someone, when really before you went into it and down that path, you should have already known that you're someone. You should have already been secure with yourself before you decide to jump into that arena, seeking validation, seeking to show that you mean something, when really we all mean something. As I have always said, we're cut from a divine cloth. Because we're cut from that cloth, we're already somebody day one when we step foot on this planet. We don't need validation. If you're a child of the divine, you don't need to be validated, because you are a child of the divine. That is validation within itself, even though validation is for parking and not people. But whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Going back to the 7 to 1 thing. So I don't believe that it will be a thing of, oh, well, political parties, this and that, standing their ground. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people in general, where they're going to be like, enough is enough. There will be people like that, saying that. Another thing too, there's going to be some millionaires coming out of this, which that usually happens anyway. During any type of depression, millionaires are usually made during a depression period, as in first-time millionaires. Not, oh, you were a millionaire and you added more to. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there will be some first-time millionaires who they will see an opportunity. Again, 7 of Swords, strategy. They'll come up with a strategy based on reading the tea leaves, those who have that ability, and then they will strike when the time is right, and they will make money during that period. But also, there will be a lot of people losing money as well. I'm trying to see if there was anything else. One thing I'm hearing is that laws may not mean as much in 2023. Laws may not mean as much. It's almost like, some people, I remember, I don't know if you've seen this old Western movie. I like Westerns. There's this old Western movie called Bad Girls. It's with, I want to say Madeline Stowe, Drew Barrymore, and I forgot what is her name? Gosh, I'm not remembering her name. And it's 2 other actresses. It's about these 4 women. And they work at a parlor house. And they end up going on the run because there was a bank robbery, and one of the people was there actually doing an actual withdrawal. She had saved up money, and she happened to be there during the robbery. So she got accused too, because she knew the person who was robbing the bank. But she wasn't robbing the bank. So anyways, go on the run. They wanted to open a sawmill house. And one of the women, her husband had some land in a deed. Well, during that time, women could not own land. So when she went to an attorney, because she had heard from someone else, actually, well, I'm not going to tell you who, because if you decide to watch the movie, I don't want to spoil it. But it's a good movie. It's real cute. But she had heard from someone else, well, if your husband's dead, how are you going to own the land? And she's like, I shouldn't have any issue with that. But she decided to go to an attorney anyway. And then the attorney was like, no, you're fine. And she was like, oh, okay, because my husband had passed away. And after she had said that, the attorney was like, wait a second, your husband's not alive? And she's like, no. So then he was like, wait a minute. And then he went back to the law books and he's like, no, you don't have a claim to the land. And she was like, what? Like, yeah, you don't have a claim to the land. And then she got upset and she was like, okay, well, if your laws don't include me, then clearly they don't apply to me. I feel like that's going to be some of the energy for some people in 2023, where some people may feel like they are left out or overlooked. And as I just heard the word abandoned, some people will feel like they've been abandoned. Thank you. So yeah, and because they feel like they've been abandoned, because whoever hasn't come to save them, whether it's their government, whether it's their family, whether it's whatever. But I feel this is more related to government because it's dealing with laws. For those who feel abandoned, they may be in that energy, well, if your laws don't include me, then they don't apply to me. So some people may just be doing what they want to do, and they don't care about whatever laws are on the books because they feel, well, the laws don't apply to them anyway because they were abandoned. Again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But that's something that I'm picking up. So yeah, I'll do the 2023 general reading for the collective as soon as we get closer. And, after that, we'll see. All right, so I just want to talk about 2023 right quick, and that is it. Let me get going because I need to do the quick 3 tarot. I wasn't planning on doing it today, but one of my oracle decks was pulling on my spirit, so I was just like, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. So here we are. So yeah, let me get going. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.